Hi, this is Troy from Full-Gamut Defense Arts. Starting a new series tonight on the push hand sequences from the Hunyuan style. Tonight we're going to concentrate on single hand fixed step. So our first one is a horizontal circle. We're not giving any pressure, we're just trying to make a nice smooth circle. Use whole body rather than just the arm. And we are working on our Full-Gamut. That's ward off, roll back, press, and push. So I am doing G, which is press. Jed is doing on at this point. Then he turns to Pung as he turns his hand out. I go into Lu, which is roll back. Here's my on, my push, my Pung, my ward off, and back into press. And just one comment on the stance. Make sure you don't turn out your back foot too far. If I do, now it's turned out at almost a 90. I have a really hard time going to this side. This is the closed side. But if I bring the foot forward, now I can turn that way much easier. Okay, a few on the other side. Turning just far enough that my pressure is going off to the side, just missing his body. Okay. And then moving on to the next one, we'll go back to this side. We go into a vertical circle. Still working on ward off, roll back, press, and push. So here is my foot press. He's doing a push down. I'm doing roll back. Okay. Roll back, then Pung, ward off, and then G, push, or press. And we can change directions at any point. That's part of the exercise. We want to make sure that we're listening. So if our partner decides to change directions on us, we don't disconnect. So it's not a contest of strength or who can push the other. It's a mutual learning tool. Do on the other side. You can also check your partner to make sure that they're not leaning or tipping into it. Okay? If I start to lean forward, he can tell and he can correct me. That's a good form correction tool as well. Okay, now we're going to go into a figure 8. So, just nice and slow, don't lean. So sort of like I'm trying to go for his wallet and he's just keeping me away from it. And then he goes for mine. There you go. There you go. So you want to go down, sink. Nice and easy. So you get the motion down. Then you can start worrying about Full-Gamut, ward off, roll back, press, and push. So he is in Liu here. And then he's going to go into Peng, G. I'm in Liu. I do An. Whoop, we kind of screwed up the. I do An here. And then my G, he does Peng to take me up. We keep doing that. Let's try it again. Hard to explain and do at the same time. So, Liu. So G is going forward. Liu is going back. So here I'm in Liu, he is in G. So the elbow does come up, but we try to keep the shoulder down. Yeah. We're going to try a couple on the other side. Now there are two different ways we can do this, in that I can have my foot inside of his or outside. You might feel more comfortable on the outside at first, but you're going to want to move in eventually. It's a little bit tougher to redirect, but also, and you need to be very, very careful with this, you can go for the knee a little bit. So that way, in order to avoid his knee, I have to lift my toe and turn out. But I want to get my foot back in position before I put weight in it. Okay? And the next version of this is also a figure 8, but we're in close. And I'm going to start on the outside again. We're actually at elbow to elbow now. And I'm trying to punch him in the ribs. And he's going to make sure I can't go too far. And then as he pulls, if I just keep going, he can pull me out. So that's where I lift up. And I get his elbow up. And then he tries to come back on me. And same thing. He has to lift up to stop that direction of motion. And again, we're on the outside, so it's easier. And now if I move to the inside, it becomes a little tougher, and we have that knee-to-knee contact. Be very careful with the knees. You can blow your own knee out trying to do it. So okay, now moving on to practicing sai. Sai is translated as plucking. Okay, we're going to start off. I'm just going to lift up to get us started. I'm going to turn in, grab his wrist, and now I practiced sai. I'm going to do this slow. I'm going to sink back into my back leg, but not too far that I have to lean. I am body folding to pull it out, to pull him down. Now he rotates to my outside to break that, then rotates in to create a curve in my arm, and then he sinks back. And I rotate out, rotate in, sink back. It doesn't have to be a big rotation, but it has to be present to do this properly. So it's out. If I don't do this, and I just try to lift up, he can just take me out. But as soon as I rotate out, go ahead and pull. Okay? I'm still not 100% stable, but I've given myself the chance to rotate, come with him, and then rotate in. And see, now I'm jamming him up, and now I come back with the side. So be careful with this one. Go really slow, easy. Give yourself a chance to do the 2 rotations out, in relation to your partner. You're rotating out away from them, then in towards them. In, yeah. Do a few on the other side. So go ahead. I'll let you start. Yeah, yeah. He did such a good rotation, I lost my grip. That's okay. So out, in, down. We're not trying to rip each other's arms off, although, you know, competition can be part of it, but it's not always the most productive part.
I think it's worth noting that when we're pulling, doing the plucking, that when we're getting into that S position, we're turning towards the opponent. We're trying to break their center, and then pull.
And then down. Yes. Yeah, so when you're trying to create that S curve, so here I'm rotating out and the hand's coming up, I rotate in, I'm rotating my waist too. So you can see his arm is really curved and I'm at his center. If I wanted to go in, I can, but that's not the exercise. I come out, come down. Okay, a couple more.
Switch my stance.
Oh, did you not switch your stance earlier? You can do this one across. This is the more open, easy. Then when you switch to same foot forward, a little bit tougher. And then inside, a little bit tougher yet. All right. So then our next one is, it's less of a push hand than a drill to work on your structure, but it's still considered push hands. So he's going to give me pressure, and it's my job to make a circle. So I want to go up, over, down, and in, and then I let him take over. I give him pressure, and he's trying to make sure he's got good structure, not lifting shoulders or getting elbows up, okay? All bad things. You start off with a light pressure, and as you and your partner are able to take more pressure, add more pressure. But if you see that your opponent starts to lift their shoulder because you're giving them so much pressure, then you need to back off a little bit. Or if they give you so much pressure and they're so stiff that they actually end up losing their structure like that, and I lifted my shoulder a little bit, then back off. You need to go a little lighter. Okay, let's switch sides. A lot of work on one arm. And I'm I'm sure some of you have noticed, this is just working an up and out circle. So could you do this in the opposite direction? Well, sure. Okay, it's not as easy to accomplish though. Okay, so it's here, and I have to keep it my own center line, and then sink down here. It's a lot tougher, and see, we kind of got crossed up there. So you come here. Yeah, lead with the fingers there a little bit so the shoulder stays down, down and in. Less common circle in the forms, so this one gets forgotten sometimes. But it's just the opposite direction, so it's not considered a separate exercise. Okay, so we are building on the last one, where we did one circle each. Now I'm going to do 3 circles. He's keeping a continuous pressure on me, and then he gets to do his 3 circles. Just further testing your structure. Then switch roles. Watch that shoulder. So, Peng. This is sort of a Lu. On. G. So, ward off. Roll back. Press down, or push down, and press. I think that was my 3. And this is another where we can get carried away, and if he gets too stiff, he can go out. Okay? Or if I get too stiff, I lose my structure and I push myself out. Right? Got to stay relaxed. Got to stay connected from the foot to the leg to the waist, up through the spine, manifest in the fingers and hands, just like the Taiji classics say. Is that 3? Watch that shoulder. Yeah.
Other side?
Yeah, let's do the inside. And once again, you can go inside or outside. Depends on what you want to do. Slip there, that's okay. It happens.
Just a little more resistance.
Okay. That good?
Yep. Just 2.
Okay. Good. All right. And the last single hand fixed step is a simple push. So we're just going to go hand to hand, and it's just a push in, a little bit of a redirection, but it's really just a straight push through. He's going to push back. I give him some resistance.
We're not clenching your hands. They're fairly relaxed.
They're fairly relaxed. And it's really, the pressure is in the palm of the hand, the heel palm, rather than up in here. Okay. So we can even, I mean, it doesn't matter, we can do this as long as we don't slip. again, it's just structure. So if I don't have my structure right, or I'm too stiff, he pushes me out. Okay? If I lean into it, okay? One, I've broken my structure, and I'm just relying on weight to push him forward instead of using that ground power. So this should be coming from the rear foot up and directed by the waist. And that's it. That's basically it. We'll do a few on the other side.
Inside.
Yeah.
Pretty hard. Ooh, that's, the angle's a lot different.
Yeah, it changes it quite a bit. All of them are tougher when the feet are inside.
The elbow stays tight to the body and it extends at the last.
Yes. So it's basically my upper arm should be straight up and down at this point, not behind me. And I come forward, and now my foot is flat, and I start to turn my waist. I'm not really shifting any more weight. But I've shifted into my back leg here. I shift forward, now I turn the waist. All right. That is all for the single hand fixed step push hands. Thank you.